There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes that something has to change. He may not know what, but he feels it: an inner exhaustion, a quiet emptiness, a loss of drive. For years he has been chasing pleasure, validation, and comfort, yet something within him remains unfulfilled. That was me, once drained, distracted, and disconnected from my purpose. What started as a curiosity about semen retention turned into the single habit that transformed my energy, focus, and sense of self. It was not a spiritual fad, not a temporary challenge, but a reawakening of masculine power hidden beneath modern chaos. When I first learned about semen retention, I dismissed it as myth or outdated asceticism. The idea that something so physical could affect one's mental, emotional, and spiritual state felt too mystical. But deep down, I couldn't ignore the fatigue that came from constant indulgence, late nights, dopamine hits, meaningless scrolling, and fleeting pleasure. I was chasing stimulation, not fulfillment. When I decided to practice retention, I didn't expect miracles. I expected discomfort. What I found instead was clarity and inner fire I hadn't felt in years. Within weeks, I realized this wasn't about abstaining from sex, it was about reclaiming my energy. The first real change was mental. My focus, which had been fractured by distraction, began to return. It felt as if a fog was slowly lifting from my mind. I could sit longer, think deeper, and work harder without burnout. Retaining my seeds seemed to give my brain a sharper edge. Later, I learned why modern science confirms that retention balances dopamine, restores testosterone, and enhances neurochemical stability. What the ancients called life force was simply energy being rerouted to rebuild the body and refocus the mind. My motivation no longer needed caffeine or external validation. It came from within, like a quiet, burning current. Soon after, I noticed my emotional world shifting. Retention had a way of making me more grounded. Where I once reacted impulsively to small frustrations, I now found myself responding with calmness. Emotional control became effortless, not forced. It was as if my nervous system had finally stopped running on low power. The inner restlessness that used to drive me to release was being replaced by patience. I realized that semen retention was not suppression, it was redirection. That sexual urge, when contained, became emotional strength, discipline, and creative fuel. I was beginning to understand what ancient teachers meant when they said, "Control the seed, and you control the self." Relationships changed, too, but not in the way I expected. I didn't become manipulative or detached. I became centered. When you retain, your energy grows dense, stable, magnetic. You don't need to impress or chase. You simply are. I noticed women responding differently, not because I was trying, but because I wasn't. They sensed something steady, something rare, in a world of restless men. Retention gave me presence, and presence replaced performance. It taught me that true attraction isn't about words or charm, it's about vibration. The more I retained, the more I embodied the type of energy that naturally commanded respect, not attention. Physically, the transformation was undeniable. My posture improved, my workouts intensified, and my recovery was faster. My eyes looked clearer, and my skin had a subtle glow. I was sleeping better and waking up stronger. Science again explains why testosterone levels rise when men abstain for extended periods, leading to improved vitality and muscle growth. But beyond biology, I felt an electricity in my body, a living current that made every breath feel alive. The Taoists called it Jing, the life essence. I called it power, the kind that can't be bought or faked. Then came the spiritual awakening. Retention doesn't just rebuild the body, it rebuilds awareness. The same energy that fuels lust also fuels intuition, creativity, and spiritual depth when refined. I began meditating daily, not as an obligation, but as a necessity. Each session felt electric, thoughts slowed, breath deepened, and moments of peace expanded. Retention made me more conscious of my thoughts, my surroundings, and my purpose. It was as if I could feel my soul stretching awake after years of sleep. I no longer felt separated from the world. I felt part of its rhythm. The energy I once wasted now connected me to something infinite. But retention is not a straight path. It tests you. It exposes your shadows, your addictions, your insecurities, your emotional wounds. Without the easy escape of release, you must face yourself fully. I learned that what I thought was lust was often loneliness, anxiety, or boredom. Each urge became a mirror reflecting my deeper needs. Learning to sit with that energy instead of reacting to it built resilience. I stopped running from discomfort and started growing through it. This was true freedom, not from desire, but from dependency. Semen retention became a daily reminder that I, not my impulses, controlled my destiny. Over time, everything I touched began to change. My career took off because my focus became laser sharp. My communication improved because I spoke less but meant more. I stopped over-promising and under-delivering. The discipline I developed from retention spilled into every area of life: diet, sleep, work, and relationships. I began living deliberately, not reactively. My goals became clearer, my habits stronger. Retention was no longer about holding back, it was about holding together. My energy, attention, and willpower finally moved in one direction, forward. The beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require belief, it requires experience. When you stop leaking energy, you naturally evolve. You don't need motivation, hacks, or external rituals. You become your own source of drive. Modern men are told to chase stimulation, to be productive, to grind endlessly, but real power doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being more. Retention turns a man from consumer to creator. Instead of chasing fleeting highs, he becomes the generator of his own energy. This shift changes everything from how he works to how he loves, from how he walks to how he dreams. In modern society, we're constantly told to indulge, to release stress, to express desire, to satisfy every impulse. But this endless pursuit leaves men weaker, not freer. I learned that real strength comes from restraint, from choosing when and where to direct your energy. Semen retention is the art of conscious living. It forces you to confront what truly matters. When you stop wasting energy, your mind stops wandering. You no longer crave noise, you crave clarity. And in that clarity, your true purpose begins to emerge, like fire from stillness. The changes also reflected in how I saw the world. I began noticing the subtle energy of others who was scattered, who was grounded, who was draining to be around. My intuition sharpened. I started surrounding myself with people who inspired growth, not distraction. The energy I once leaked in private moments was now manifesting in powerful ways: better relationships, financial growth, and spiritual balance. Retention made me realize that life mirrors your internal energy. If you leak constantly, life leaks opportunity. If you conserve and channel, life multiplies it. Energy truly is currency. One of the most profound lessons semen retention taught me was humility. It showed me that discipline is not about pride, it's about service. Every time I resisted temptation, I wasn't just saying no to pleasure. I was saying yes to power, focus, and purpose. Retention humbled me because it reminded me that I am not my urges, I am the awareness behind them. This understanding brought peace. I didn't need to fight my desires, I only needed to direct them. Desire, when purified, becomes devotion to life, to self, to the divine. Today, I no longer see semen retention as a challenge or a phase. It has become a lifestyle, a way of aligning my energy with purpose. It's not about perfection, but awareness. Some days are harder than others, but each day strengthens my connection to myself. I've learned that this practice is not about denying your humanity, but elevating it. In a culture that rewards instant pleasure, choosing patience is revolutionary. It's a quiet rebellion against a world that profits from your weakness. And in that rebellion, I found freedom. Looking back, I can say with certainty that semen retention was the one habit that changed everything. It gave me back my time, my focus, my confidence, and my spiritual compass. It reconnected me to my body, clarified my goals, and deepened my relationships. It turned my lust into purpose, my anxiety into strength, and my confusion into clarity. I stopped searching for meaning outside myself because I discovered it within. Retention taught me that true power isn't loud, it's silent, steady, and sacred. When you master your energy, you master your life. That's not just philosophy, it's proof lived daily. In a world obsessed with release, the man who learns to retain becomes a mystery, a calm, focused force amid chaos. He doesn't need attention because he commands it naturally. He doesn't need validation because he carries his own light. Every man has this power within him. It's simply waiting to be reclaimed. Semen retention isn't about suppressing desire, it's about awakening destiny. And once you experience the transformation it brings, you'll understand why this single habit isn't just a practice, it's a rebirth. Was this the fire you needed? Let me know by hitting like. More importantly, if you want this growth to be consistent, subscribe and join the team. I love connecting with every one of you, so please, tell me where in the world you're watching from in the comments. 4 questions too deep for comments and direct access to our community. The Telegram channel is open, the link is in the description. Your one mission: share this powerful message with one person who needs to hear it. Have an absolutely powerful day.